Alright, Facecam's back, and I'm trying out a different layout, just like having myself more on this side of the screen centered. I hope you guys are doing good. I thought this video deserved Facecam. Now, I'm planning on getting a new Facecam, and I'll just throw this out, 250 likes, and I'll get it literally the minute it hits 250 likes. I've been delaying it, but if you guys really want it just for a higher quality, you let me know. Now, this is going to be completely laid back, but I think this discussion is actually important to have regarding the 1.5 anniversary units. And I want to talk in general just about how I feel about them and also the problems and the really good aspects about them. I've had it's 3:17. It's been about 13 hours since we got the reveal. I think 13 or 12, I'm not sure. And I really it was 13. Yeah, it was at 2 a.m. It was at 2 a.m. So I just want to kind of break it down for you guys and also bring up some things that I didn't realize on first look and in the first video. But I do want to start with the things I still dislike. And that's bringing another Gojo, Geto, and Shoko. Now, why is that a problem? Well, there's a couple things, but the main thing is that we just got a Shoko. So no matter what they do, if we still get a Shoko, she's going to be replaced. Now, someone's going to say, oh, but it doesn't all have to be HI. The thing is, they did say for the 1.5 anniversary, we plan to hold a Tamabun, which is hidden inventory or slash premature death arc event. So there's two ways to interpret this, but personally, I interpret this as the 1.5 Annie is only going to be hidden inventory. Now, you could also say we plan to hold A, so it's not like the 1.5 Annie is HI, it's just part of it. That could be. That could be. If that is, that's huge. You know why? Because another Teen Ghetto and Teen Shoko right now is horrible. First of all, our old Teen Ghetto is still amazing. Second of all, Shoko came out in February, guys. In February. She'd come out less than 4 months later. This is less time between HI Gojo and Domain Gojo, which is crazy. So if it is full HI, there is the negative of them repeating the units too often. And of course, this is our 5th Gojo. Now, the other thing that I did want to mention is I think these are decent picks for what they want to do. So if we do get them and they are the good colors, that's great. However, someone brought this to my attention. Gojo has a green firework, and then you have a blue and yellow one. So I don't know what that is necessarily. Could you say it's red? Maybe. But we see these two are clearly being held. And then afterwards, you could say Gojo is red, is a possibility, but you see blue and yellow, and then we saw Gojo holding a green one at first. Now, why I'm saying it's Gojo is due to the fact that he's on the left, and guess who's on the left? Well, if we see Geto's in the middle, then this means Gojo is the one we're looking at with the green sparkle. And since the only times we see them hold the sparkle is the green, blue, and yellow, it might signify that those are the 3 colors. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the 3 colors that they are going to be. Someone said maybe they swapped, right? Maybe they swapped. However, I think that we should not get any yellows, so I hope this is wrong. I'm just bringing up this point that it is possible that these are the 3 colors we get. Shoko has yellow, Geto has blue, Gojo has green. Gojo being green is the only good one. Now, let me talk about another point. Someone brought up that blue Gojo would be really good, and it wouldn't. And let me talk about why. We don't need a blue DPS. What we need is a blue universal support, just because of the fact that this is the only color that could really take a universal support right now. Yellow has too many supports. We just got Shoko. It's not good. Now, blue, why blue would be good is because Sukuna and blue Jogo are both able to dominate every single floor and tower right now. There are obviously some things you need for example, you might need a blue Miwa. So the problem with releasing a blue unit is that blue is the only typing that's having a relatively easy time with these floors. So releasing a new blue DPS to gap Sukuna when Sukuna is already the only DPS that gaps, and making HI Gojo gap Sukuna, which Sukuna gaps the rest of the game, would be horrible balancing issues, because it's either that Teen Gojo does not gap Sukuna and then Teen Gojo is worthless as a blue DPS, or Teen Gojo gaps Sukuna and then the problem is that blue is beating everyone for no reason, because we're already beating all the floors. And then it becomes an even bigger problem when this Sukuna is probably going to be able to do the future floors 81 to 100 when other DPSs won't. So that's why I said green, because we need a green Jujutsu updated, because green Jujutsu is suffering right now for new units, where Saki and Yuji are a very good combo to work together for Taijutsu green floors from 61 to 80. Green Jujutsu is suffering a bit, and a green Jujutsu Gojo would be great, because there's a floor where Taijutsu damage is lowered, so having another green Gojo would be great. Also, Teen Gojo would probably not leave the battle where this one does, so that's another thing to consider. Now, why I wanted blue Shoko is, like I said, yellow has the supports, green I'm hoping Gojo, and then Shoko would have to be blue, because red I want not to be Shoko. The main reason is because if Shoko's a red support and she's universal, the problem then becomes that the two best supports in the game that are universal are both red. So I would then like it to be a blue universal support, just because they can't really do a DPS right now, because the last 3 units were DPSs, right? That's another reason. So I would say a support, because the only support we have is Momo, so another... and Ghetto, I guess, but an actual buffer, I would like Shoko. And then that leaves red, and I would love a red Teen Ghetto. Teen Ghetto would make sense as red, mainly because we need a sub-DPS. If we get another sub-DPS that actually does debuff stats, that would be huge, and this red team would be insanely better. Main reason, and hopefully Ghetto being AoE this time, because if we check it out, Yuta's still good with his heals. With Gojo and a Ghetto, like, this team would be really good. So just logically speaking, I think this is the best outcome, just seeing how a Shoko, Gojo, and Shoko, Ghetto, and Gojo would look. However, there's also the fact that it may not be just these 3, and they might be throwing us in for a loop, which I have had that part and that idea brought up to me, and I think that is a possibility. So let me know down below if you actually do agree with that or not. I do think that it is possible that maybe, hey, maybe we only get a hollow purple Gojo, and then afterwards we get Shibuya, right? Maybe part 1 is Teen Hollow Purple, Honored one, and then we go to part 2 being like, I don't know, it could be a Choso, right? And then part 3 could be a Toji, which ties into both themes of Shibuya and also of HI, and that could be another way they do it. But I think that right now a universal Shoko overall would be good. However, it would undermine yellow Shoko, which is a bit of a problem. And then Teen Ghetto is not really needed, because both Ghettos we have right now are still top of their game in their respective fields. And then Gojo is the only one who I think could be good. And then, hey, Degumi gets some value, because Degumi finally has to be used with a Gojo now. Because if you think about it, like, HI Gojo, like, for the floors we do right now, I'm not really using Degumi, but you can actually... No, I use Degumi. No, I use them. Never mind. So Degumi works with Teenjo, but like Blue Gojo, Hollow Purple aren't really working anymore. So a new green, I wouldn't mind. But if it's blue, then I do think the game's balance is just fucked. I don't think we should get a new blue TPS until second Annie. Second Annie, sure, it's been a year since Sukuna's out at that point. But right now, if we get a blue DPS, it's over. People saying a blue DPS, it's not even about power creep. It's just about making first of all, it would make the new floors have to have like over 100 million HP. But the problem with that is that, okay, either only the blue floors have 100 million HP, because either you power creep Sukuna, who could literally is the only one who could do near that amount. You power creep Sukuna, or then you get fucked. Like, you would have to make the HPs for blue so much higher than the rest of the floors upcoming, or else it's fucked, right? That's the main thing. You don't want to break the balance for only one color. You want to make sure all the colors are slowly advancing, which is how they've done it in the past and how power creep should advance. While it could definitely be linear with some increased spikes, but right now, if they make a blue Gojo, it would be literally a vertical line up. Okay, that's the only way to make him summon worthy, besides for people who obviously just want Gojo, of course, right? But since I've seen people willing to skip Sukuna, this would mean they're willing to skip a Teenjo, the second Teenjo, which therefore also means this would be the worst anniversary out of the 3, because that means none of the units are really hype. Teen Ghetto would be the second time. Shoko just got a new unit, and she's not the hypest, but for me, she is the hypest, because I think if she is a buffer that is really good and universal, yeah, she's going to be great. And then what about Teen Gojo? Like, if he either has to gap if he's blue, so that's why I don't think he's going to be blue, because he needs to carry most of this anniversary for being real. For the Japanese players, it's going to be great. It's going to have a very casual feel, but let's be honest, they're not getting all 3 of them. If they have to choose, it's going to be between Gojo or Shoko. Like, that's just how it's going to be. Which is why I think it is possible we don't get just HI units, but that's how it's seeming, because Tamabun, basically it's hidden inventory, death, what's it called? Premature death event. So I hope the way this is worded only means that there's 1 unit or 2 units from this, right? Now, maybe what they could do is like a Teen Gojo, Yellow Shoko, or not Yellow, like a Teen Shoko, and then maybe Shibuya Toji. That could be what they do. There's a lot of ways they could go about this, but I just wanted to sit down and give my thoughts. I think this is good. However, if they choose these 3 units, there are problems that come up with it. But I'm honestly pretty excited for this, if I'm being completely real. If the colors are as I predicted, and they are like, I would say like Gojo would need to be slightly better than Sukuna, or as good. As good or slightly better than Sukuna, and I'd be really happy. I just don't want the game's balance to be thrown out, but if we get a Sukuna level DPS for this, I am so down for this anniversary. And then Shoko, guys, she could be like the most insane buffer while healing. That sounds insane to me. Really, really good. So I'm happy for this, right? The problem is, if there wasn't a movie, I would be more opposed, because there's a movie returning this May, which lines up very close to this. Now, the thing is, if there wasn't this movie, I would have said, fuck it, release Shibuya now and release HI later. And why is that? Because of the fact that they release Shibuya now, they have HI later, and there's actually going to be more hype. And also because if it is a Shoko, as we are seeing in this image, right? If it is a Shoko, the problem with that was we just got a Shoko. So I'd rather these units have more hype built up to where it's not like we just got them. So they'll feel more fresh if we would have gotten it for 2.5 anniversary. And this could have been a Shibuya update where we've already gotten Shibuya units that were disappointing. So it would have been something to lead into to be happy about Shibuya, where now the sentiment that Shibuya just has not been good at all. We're 0 for 3 in terms of units that helped their color really advance. Mei, horrible, not used at all. Blue Ino, just not good, right? 2 DPS is better than him on launch. And then Green Muta is the best green DPS. However, it's like, the difference is not that much. Like, how I see it for Green Muta is like, Hollow Purple got a B+, and then Muta got an A-. Like, there's not that much of a difference, but you see a difference, right? But there's not that much of a difference to where I'm like, okay, this is a W. I just don't think so, because Green Saki has been more useful than Muta on these floors. So that's something I do want to say. Shibuya, for the most part, has been an L. So the fact that we are moving away from Shibuya after 3 Ls back to back, in my opinion, I gave my reason why just now. I do think it kind of sucks for that. But at the same time, like I said, I'm really happy for Shoko and Gojo. Gato, it's going to depend. I don't know how they're going to do him, but overall, I am pretty excited. But I do think talking about the problems of the potential color issues that we're having, regarding the fact that we already have these 3 fucking units, where if we got a Toji and a Choso, it would have probably been a bit better. And we would have had a guaranteed color for Megumi, and we honestly did need a red DPS. So I'm a bit interested. Like, I think Gojo being red potentially would be fine. I would be fine with a red DPS Gojo, but then Domain Gojo wouldn't work, and that would be really weird. So I'd say green makes sense for Gojo. Red for Ghetto, I would be down for that. And then Shoko being blue would make sense. That's going to be it. Let me know what you think. Do you think these choices are good? That's something very important. Do you think these choices are good? Do you think they fit right now? And what do you think their colors are going to be? If you tell me blue Gojo in the comments, I'm just going to imagine that you have not touched the tower floors at all from 61 to 80 and don't see how it plays. Because I just don't think it would be good for the game. I think logically, if you see it from how power creep should work, even like in the worst of worst cases, if they do this, it's like, it's going to be red, green, yellow, blue. That's going to be the gap. So that will be a problem, because Sukuna already gaps the game in terms of DPS. I just want to make that clear, and that's my problem with it. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited for a Shoko, bro. If we get Shoko, that's great. There's no, if we get a Toji, maybe. But I feel like these 3 units are locked in. Shoko's voice actor and Ghetto's voice actor will be at the stream. And Gojo's too expensive to pay. So it makes sense. He wasn't even at the first Annie stream. So I think this is it. I think these are the 3 units. We'll have to see for the colors. We'll have to see for their kits. But I'm expecting a DPS Gojo, Teen Gojo, Honored one. A sub DPS Ghetto that does a lot of damage, but also does very good support, better than Green Ghetto or Universal support. And then Shoko being a universal buffer with heals. But there is problems because then she'd overshadow the previous Shoko, so hopefully it's done in a different way. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day.